sisi na hoden okosora o manzama ya krafi obi no krom ye de ba no so ya tona ono so obi okofu again ya target nzama bi a owo food basket no mu ni ya boa madam nzama no so no bono ba bafo
okay
nti mu be gradually sisa wo fe ne sisa oreba meaning there you accept the target there a fee bokone wie no at the minimum inflation will be 11.9 but makuma meaning there 11.9 ye be achieve nkwansa na afina kone wie esi to me achieve ansa na afina kone wie ya ndo ha December de na me ya adoma ye botum ye nya single digit na ya hwehwe.
According to the finance minister Kesa, ato force in Papa ne say hooray. Or say Ghana you achieve a milestone at Chama. For the past 4 good years, nebi si Ghana ada. Inflation na we me announce say abedu 11.5% no. And then amene you can say the finance minister di Ghana Kesa ato force say abedu single digit. Inflation do single digit 9.4% as at August 2025. The last time I hear TV, a lowest level since August 2021. And the way I mark the 9th consecutive monthly decline. And they say John Dramani buy no 9 months ni for the 23.5% of the inflation. As what is every month be as what is this month and the year August and be September no. Papa I a friend of Kesla to force in the finance minister. Atu is forcing Atu a force yama inflation ababeda a single digit inflation that's 9.5% according to data Ghana Statistical Service. Edia Basse the last time you had you pay 4 years idiot. Mama yamo the John Dramani Mahama about because Sky said just few months ago, John Dramani Mahama can say the target for Ghana in the next 4 years, I say, Anka years in the end, no, Nanga Ghana achieve single inflation target, but no way from 23.5% a far rich. Say on between the bedroom to set it target say Anya a bedroom around 11.5%. Nanga John Dramani Mahama ne at 2%. Say Kamope. But fortunately enough, and trying go through say ye and a beson. Yet as October ending, November ending, and then December ending. John Dramani Mahama already at a key sad a single digit. Eti ene onam Ghana out me be two chest. Say inflation about down to 9.4%. Now when a month for busa question say inflation no crane dey be here because inflation am say e course ri Saturday you say na nema boy dine and ye mo akwagoto na ye 50 Ghana pa ajampe 120 Ghana anwa akwagoto na ye 15 Ghana obekọ no ye say anwa ye 45 Ghana dokuna na auto 3 Ghana no pa obekọ no say dokuna do 7 Ghana na wey and ye nim say okay inflation na kosoro na say yes inflation ya ba for me meaning say nema bo eba form nemom no I say cedi ni appreciate over the dollar no so ebi ti so no na ebi tum no na ebi maintain the same price inti actually inflation sometimes in realistical way as it only take effect abra inflation ni kosoro nemo say inflation say eba form price of goods and commodities stand still and I say bo say amount for share ye adjustment kitwe bi the way no ebe da boy when a professor Peter Kwate say when people's livelihood are threatened it affects the way they behave and here papa no kan ya omwa say bema pa usura no pa na wo he budget aka na say entimi mfa wontwa e dey na e week ni wi ha oge kasa ho na obuafu o ma be kasa ho na obuafu o papa frɛ wo na ma frɛ na chire che say obi akasa ho na obuafu bibi kitwa bi na obuafu
What do you make of this milestone, a single-digit inflation, and what factors you believe have contributed most to the sustained drop? Is it largely as a result of government policies?
Yes, the decline in inflation, we can attribute this to a few factors. We know that the IMF-led fiscal consolidation program is helping us to basically reduce our fiscal spending, be able to contain spending deficits, etc. So all of this is helping to reduce the pressures on food. Then also food production. You know the season we are, rainfall, the weather seems good. Rainfall pattern seems to be improving in the past couple of months. So certainly, since we have relied mostly on rain-fed agriculture, food prices have come down compared to previous months or same period last year. So we can see some stability there. Then, of course, relative stability in the exchange rate. You know, the exchange rate drives transport cost. It drives so many things on the market. And since we have seen some relative stability in the exchange rate, this certainly has led to decline in the rate of inflation. Doesn't mean prices are not increasing, but the rate of increase is not as rapid as we've seen in previous years. But Dara, I want to point out this, that if you look at the regional distribution, you will find that some regions are doing quite well, like the Bono East, where food production, etc., is quite good. Then our brothers and sisters in the Northeast region, they recorded the highest rate of inflation of about 20.1%. It tells you that, and besides this is one of the poorest parts of the country. So when food prices are increasing in such regions, yet they remain poor, that's where policy should target. We really have to look at those areas and place more emphasis on government policy.
As I say, uko more areas sebi economic living from na koye many jobs yi mercy carpentry then nka we nka nya adwuma fon sa o dem o nyama yi obeti matena o mercy ni best 4 months no obi amfre na adwuma carpenter ni best 5 months no obi amfre na adwuma enti wuti sa area yi na se jese ahonkere ebu se tom enye de obehu no kro no bonko apo bonko obi ebo obi kro no eti according to Professor Peter Kwate just inflation no go from here.
One point I want to point out is that in as much as inflation is reducing, I'm concerned about the regional disparity, particularly the poor regions, the northeastern region, for instance. You find part of the northern region as well, very high rate of inflation compared to a place like Bono East and others. You can tell that where the food basket is, where food production is really on the increase, inflation is much lower compared to the regions where we are not witnessing high rates of food production. And it worries me because when livelihoods are threatened, when people's livelihoods are threatened, it certainly affects the way they behave. It can even generate into conflict. And therefore, policies should be directed towards reviving or supporting such areas to ramp up their food production to enhance their livelihood.
Now we are John Dramani Mama Bedia Kunya, Yerimzena CSC under the previous administration. And the Obemus say, cars hijacking, a month for Bokrono, a month for Bopo, a month for Yewe, Yewi. Even under John Dramani Mama, see this as I appreciate him. Now, still, you go show your teen news new baby. And then, positive watch, I say, yo, Moduma, so much a month for 2 money. Best a few days ago, Nipa 10, yet your mom, now you are Nipa 4. Now, every single day, CID, penny say, they say, no way, for now we are Kai, you have a show. But yet, you know, a month for and get themselves more involved, because say, and Yama, a boy for the mom. Nakakra na ewo munsem no mutim de to bibi edi no mutim to bibi di so avia then they will have no need mostly krono no bono ni dodo na bebrebe na edi ebedi ewu nti ahu di ebedi ewu anti because can you hu oti say anti eno na deba nti according to Professor Peter Kwate say we ade a esefata say yebo castle to force in the finance minister any the president of the land, John Dramani Mahama. But so you know, also the 12 say our cost of production of local food is higher than when we import them. No wonder we are always importing and our exchange rate is challenged. And the Papa Professor Peter Kwatesu says one reason why our inflation be go so akosoro. Now we know any surprise because say team about from. Enti na yemo the finance minister about no say. Sa wo the way Ghana enuane a ye na ha. Ugo for free afom no de beduru, omo de beduru a. Obekọ ne board dende. Just a practical example. Mister woman be or ton fish. Palani Simon ye biawo. Aye timi ko yibi free cake ko sunsuom. Akra nsuom ne ho ta di mu nsuom ne nkonya ba no. Maame no fish ne ba ko kakra ka. No ton 15 cedi mi do nyankopon hata soro. Sa 15 Ghana fish na mi hu ye no. Sa okọ mo ton kenke ho a. De no ton 5 cedis e e bi ton 10 e bi ton 15 cedis. And maame na change ma me tia say the phone Ghana han ne boy edin nti oba this autonomous sa am kitin na eno so no wa woto no na unyinwi na mom no we no ngo fa free say Togo ano ngo fa free ba enti ye twam atra keko sunsuo no fish egum akra de no fish egum ya anto bi Ghana ha okoto bi but me so me di mani hu fish no 10 Ghana fish 5 Ghana fish ni 15 Ghana fish no difference a one between any Ghana for the omotono so huge difference. Let me say, hey, and you better the power. Say, bet my eating Ghana, yeah, I'm passing. You better the Ghana, you never Ghana, dear wedding. It's according to Professor Peter Guatich, say, hey, you go so any board as we are doing. You go so cranium about import, no, you because so import because it's cheaper. And today be no baby, no, Nasi the neighbor. See this as I say, brepe. Inflation because no.
I mean, food plays a very critical part in fighting inflation because inflation is basically more money chasing few goods. And therefore, if you want to address it, either you reduce the amount of money in circulation or enhance the production of goods and services or do both, basically, depending on how you want to tackle inflation. Therefore, we have to enhance food production within the areas where we are reporting very high rates of inflation. And I think the challenge with us is we are not investing much into irrigation. Irrigated agriculture land, for instance, is less than 5%. And I think we have to move away from that, given the climate change challenges we are facing currently. Otherwise, if we can continue to rely on rain-fed agriculture, it's not sustainable, and we'll be witnessing such high rates of inflation in certain parts of the country. And that, for me, is a source of worry. Once our livelihood are threatened, already we are faced with illegal mining, where agricultural lands are being converted, are being poisoned, our water bodies are being poisoned, and therefore our food basket is threatened. So if we don't do something now, it will get to a point where we have to import our food. Already, look at the rate of inflation for imported and locally produced food. Imported food, the rate of inflation is 8.7%. Locally produced is 12.2%. It tells you the inefficiency in our production. It tells you our cost of production of local goods are higher than when we import them. No wonder we are always importing and our exchange rate is always challenged.
And one reason why inflation actually see a drop, the US city I stabilize. And then okay, you see the last time we were at 12, I say between 12.20, 12.39, 12.40, 12.43. I stay within that range in this close to about a month. In the set me stable say, na say ye na say afa yesu timi ema more friends export products e Ghana ha na relatively cheaper than the go for free abroad. Then we have no need say go crab people for e dey free abroad. Then we have no need say inflation e be say because we be and yes where ye hu ya mpe Yeah, appreciate ne say inflation yi ba ye de enkan ye botom inflation yi ye paper so no. Say inflation ko soro akai. Say DST before omo to omo price no de omo ka kire ye ne say inflation I was soro too much. CD no air depreciate and these are the two key reasons. Omo two mu. Okwa boso kan ya the same thing oga just say CD air depreciate into betu na dim otumpe automatically be affecting inflation because it just said the cost of living is high. What dey here no say na mass dey here papa no area now say I believe after going through such a program like IMF there are lessons to be learned. We need to do things for efficiency. Papa Professor Peter Kwate say IMF here ko ye am yesunya de because ukokporo e de ba ye kire okwan fa so bu woman nti ebewie no economically e affect heavily nti nima afa ye ni supan or ye sure say na no ye Kesela to force in the finance minister and come ogodi ye say enya ade aye ko boro basa ba heart bia ye be boro a na emra so de egwa koje ba be ye no e ya de sombo pa e be bo Ghana nya gasi ye ni ses kan bi da ho na ye first sika no e de ba e bia na be affect ya ada economy enya sa pa de ne ye nkoboro ye be ja ne sa no Professor Peter Kwate say good idea clever or say from 2016 we Mahama echo IMF MPP ba in the 8 years so amako IMF as IMF no yan yintum ni ehu se mfaso ni so ye kwa emwaye ye bewie no de ehu no na tan nti ye begu so ato akoso saa debi esi ejai and the only way beti majai and say ye be cut the waste in our government and so na John Dramani Mahama say wa emi so obeye o say okopia US o say Africa foni na momwa mmo en kan ko ntre ho esikadie basa na African president ne ya appointees ye die no ebi wa na ehu hia ebi wa sika no ase ye di ase no mi wa ya manfo ho kire omo heke enye education eye poor baby ana ye depend lala sulila enye we back ne ya tam enuro sika basa mu nto aduro mankwala na we back ni atam ose eno no mfaso bi eni so yen cut waste na yen making sure say ye be limit if any possible say bet eradicate corruption na yen limit corruption and how do we limit it by making sure say government appointees be accountable and so far no the code of conduct e dey aba where government appointee you will follow umpe you follow to follow you go follow eti eno na Peter Professor Peter Kwate Eka say that is the new step say any government or person or avoid the high inflation now or maintain a stabilized currency no oh yeah and this is the reason why I'll say oh sorry anopa na obo empire Bobima Kessel at two force in the finance minister and in the president John Dramani I say aduma no ni na no maye no say twaso see akode na just say Ghana you're on our way to financial freedom we are on our way say ye be a friend say debt free ye medin obi aka because ye hwe ye kana kama at the same time so no ye stabilize the economy at the same times ye try say ye be creating more production our Ghana ha at the same time ye try say be exporting more near importing less into way e ade be boye I believe in that I think it's beautiful meaning say Ghana for mostly ye struggle with what inflation is because at the internet biggest inflation number from na practically Ghana ni fi say own feel here out the life yeah sometimes na go political talk but I don't know much chembo dey akire no when your city or when your currency is depreciating all because of say system no ya junk system where you overborrow where you overspend it there high cost of living high cost of living ebe affect inflation eno actually say improve your inflation will start cutting down kakra eno na ne Ghana for the past 4 good years na ye achieve that ye achieve yanya a single digit inflation 9.4% according to the finance minister Kessel Atu Force for comment no eto comment section na say how happy are you say Ghana achieve 9.4 inflation. I have 4 years long run and a name be that ye could do about 23%. And then you do single digit. How happy are you? How do you understand when we talk about inflation? Then where inflation ya single digit in ebayama with daily life. Then and ebayama. Have your life improved with the inflation now for 9 months in John Dramani Mahama administration in the second coming? Every single month we are a drop of inflation, and that drop here will do 9.4. Have you been feeling it? Have you been enjoying it? For comment, comment section as we are subscribe, like it, next say unya enye edino eba ko Maxi Billian. Our naked truths on Oldboga Trends. Macro. Bye bye.